Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She is every guy's dream come true because she is the one that's going to help you find that long-term relationship, that person you're looking for, how to navigate through that. She has the answers. Like a lot of guys, we wonder, like, should I be doing this? How should I look at that? She is Tamara with True Connection. She's back with us, and we're going to talk about something called conscious dating, but deeper. Well, we talked about this a while back, but we're going to go deeper. Tamara, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. My voice is, not that lively today, but otherwise I'm fabulous.
Sound coming through loud and clear and enough for us to look deeper at conscious dating. And this is something that you're really all about. You started talking about it a couple of podcasts back as we were learning how it all works in the beginning, but we're gonna walk through steps of the stages of the relationship and how you can still be conscious. I guess let's define what conscious dating is right out of the gate.
So conscious dating is dating with intention and being mindful when you're dating. So this is a series of practices and it's a mindset. So once you really absorb what it is, it's going to really save you dating the wrong women and get you in relationships that you really want to be in and get you out of the relationships that are no longer working, but you're going to catch it sooner so that you don't linger and stay in it. You might be in love, but you know it's over, and it gives you the tools to let go. So this is really life-saving steps. I mean, this is our 11th episode. We've been talking about it here and there, but this is going to be great to just dive in and talk about the tools you can use at whatever stage you're at in dating and relationships.
And I love this because it makes so much sense in the beginning, conscious dating. What do you want? Who are you going to go out with? How is it going to work? But once you're in it, yeah, I think a lot of us just take our foot off the gas. I'm like, all right, well, I'm here. It's great. And but then maybe you don't feel fulfilled or there's something not right there. And this can help you look at that. So let's go back. How about some examples in the very beginning? We talked a lot about the first date and leading into that with the conscious dating. Why don't we recap maybe just 3 quick conscious dating tips, facts that are important in the very beginning?
So starting now or whenever you decide you want a long-term relationship, the first 2 things you do is you make your deal breakers list. And they have to be genuine. I mean, if she has this, we're done. That's what a deal breaker is. Second thing is you make your needs list. What do I need out of a relationship to really make it work, to be fulfilled, to want to stay with this person or get to know this person more? And that unravels over time. You're not going to learn that, in the first 5 dates. But you can start to see, she's told me she's, allergic to pets, doesn't like kids, and wants to retire at 35. That might not fall within your needs list or your plans or your goals, your lifestyle. So you can really figure that out as you go along. So that's the basis. And you are going to look at these lists through your entire relationship journey. So it's to help you find the women in the first place and to help you be in a confident state of mind, because confidence, super attractive. When you know what you want, a woman feels safe. She starts to believe in you. She starts to trust you. She can feel that from you. And you are really, not kidding, going to use these lists, if you're conscious dating, through the entire thing. Until your wedding day, if you choose to marry, all the way.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. I'm seeing here, this is the list. This is what I'm looking for. 2 thoughts here. It's almost like manifestation. You're manifesting what you want, but you're being detailed. And again, we did say this before. Don't get so detailed in terms of hair color, eye colors, things like that, unless it is a deal breaker. I can't be with anybody unless they have dark eyes. If that's you, or if you're a woman, I need a guy that has facial hair. That's it. Or the other way, no tats. I'm not, whatever they are, to get that detailed. But Interestingly, when you go through your full list here, deal breakers, the wants, things like that, things crop up in the relationship that you may not be aware of in the beginning, but it's almost
Yes.
as you refer back to
Yes.
the blueprint. Like,
Yes.
you know what? I did write that
Yeah.
down.
Right. Well, and if you are questioning yourself then, because you like so many things about her, but there's two deal breakers, go back to your why. Why are they on the list? Really noodle through that with yourself because if those still apply, you need to let her go. You know, eventually you will. So just end it out of respect and consideration for her because it's just easier to stay with someone, but it's kinder to let her go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Um, you personally, your list,
Hmm.
and everybody's different, kind of curious.
Yeah.
How long is your list?
Deal breakers, not that long.
Hmm.
The rest, the more it's more like a needs list thing because that can involve because like we talked about before, different people inspire different parts of you. And so you might really enjoy the way someone brings alive a different part of you than someone else does. And so my deal breakers list is relatively short. The
Hmm.
great thing about a deal breakers list is it helps you then discern who to date. Like if you're on an online dating app, doesn't help you much with in person because you've got to say it all out loud through every exchange, text, chat, date. But it's really nice because a lot of deal breakers are revealed online with those little sections that they make you fill out. And I love that when people fully complete those.
Hmm.
So spirituality is a deal breaker, children are a deal breaker, ages of children are a deal breaker, location, right? I mean, there's just a lot of that you can look over and decide right away. There's no point in chatting with someone you know you're not going to date more than two or three times, or you're not willing
Totally,
to move.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. And I just saw
Yeah.
something. It's interesting. I just saw somebody I know from back in the day, and she was on a dating site, and a nice person. Um, and then she was gone, and then I see her on Facebook, and it says in a relationship with, and the guy's name, but he's in another state. And I was kind of surprised. I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe she met him online, and she's cool
Yeah.
with that.
A lot of people
She,
make that work.
she, she seems happy, and she's very
Hmm.
career driven, does well. Let's say that. And I guess she's okay with that. So it's like, all right, me
Yeah.
personally, nah, I'm not okay with that.
Hmm.
It's, we all have our, 15 miles,
Yes.
20 miles. That's as far out as I'm going. Um, but yeah, so you got to have that list
Hmm.
together. So let's fast forward. We're in the relationship, met somebody. How do you consciously date them?
So every 2 weeks, you're going to get your lists back out
Whoa.
and you're going to look at them again. And it's because you are learning about each other. Like you learn about, a lot about each other when they meet your friends. You celebrate a holiday. You go
Mm,
through something difficult together. You have a big fight. You learn you have a big difference in values in one area or another. So you want to keep re-looking at the deal breakers list. Things reveal themselves in time. And as the red flags pop up, you need to remember them, learn them, acknowledge them,
mm.
soak it in. Those aren't going away. Yeah.
So I had a conversation yesterday um, with I have friends who are girls, and they're all single. We we joke and we call them Stevie's Angels. And I'm the only guy. So we're there and we're sitting at in one of their backyards. And I was talking just about what we're talking about here. And one of them said, and she's like, I've been divorced 13 years, out of a relationship for about 2 or 3 years now. She goes, it's a lot of work. And she says, when you're in your 40s and 50s,
Mhm.
it gets to you, there's more baggage. that you're carrying,
Yeah.
and so as is everybody else. So it almost kind of where we left off with the conversation, it's almost as if, how much are you willing to tolerate? Because there's going to be give and
Right.
take at this point.
Right.
You're not in your 20s anymore, which, kind of not jaded or anything. Um, that can be challenging where your trade-offs are.
Mhm.
We talk about the conscious dating list that you've made up. I guess it's the deal breakers where you're not willing to bend
Mhm.
on those.
Right. And it's so important to be mindful of those out of respect for her and you and your kids, the people in your life, how your life is set up. And if the reason that you want to make this at this stage in life, at the new stage you're in, is because they're not going to be the same as when you were 25.
Hmm.
Some are going to be different. Yeah. So you want to make it again. And if you really are thinking about giving up a deal breaker, like, I don't know, smoking is a big one for a lot of people. You got to think that through.
Mm.
Am I really, or are you going to go through like an experimental time? I'm willing to give this a couple months and see if I can live with it. You can't, then let her go. But honor yourself, because don't let a year go by or two or 10. And then you're like, I knew this in the first 2 months.
Yeah.
That's why these tools are so powerful. So, however you work with me, whatever program you're in, we are focused on this. This is our theme song, because I want you to find someone sooner than later. And I don't want you wasting years of time and money dating the wrong women. So, there's other things, of course, that come into play about why you're not finding someone. But these are the things that are going to keep you on track and honoring yourself.
Hmm. Wow. Um, it's challenging when you look at those, and I'm thinking of deal breakers, and I haven't made this list, and I should have, and I will, but I'm already thinking of them.
Mhm.
What's a deal breaker? Smoking is definitely one
Mhm.
of them. That's on my list. Would I
Yeah.
tolerate that? I always say this. I say never. I don't
Mhm.
know. If I needed to, if there's other great things over here, would that be okay? Probably not. But people say to me, he'll say, "You ever get married again?" And I never say no, because I don't know. I don't think so. And it will be different. But you don't know. And I hate to
Right.
say, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Never going to do it again. What do I know? Something may change, and it might
Yeah.
seem, there might be a reason it might seem right. Um,
Right. Yeah. And that's why it's okay to revisit it, but you're sitting down at the table, talking through this with yourself, reasoning through it, really thinking through, why is this on there? And when she's smoking around me, for example, how do I feel? How's that impacting my life, my kids? Why is this a big deal for me?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can say this, I'll share with you. Somebody I'm with now, I manifested. And
Oh.
I didn't think of this until recently, but the majority of the things that are on the plus, that's what I was thinking. I'm not even kidding. It just hit me the other day. I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I should have put it down as a list, like we're talking about. Um, because there are things there that, everybody's got the give and the take. So those other things, I didn't manifest those, but I didn't say yes or
Mm-hmm.
no because I never made a list. So that's why it's so important to
Right.
come up with this list. All right. So
Yeah.
every 2 weeks, we reevaluate this list. Um, how does it impact a relationship moving past that? Let's say
Then
you're,
you talk things out. So you realize you're 6 months in, which is a big threshold for couples. And you realize she's not meeting 5 of your needs. You sit down and one at a time, by the way, one at a time, and you talk through them. Where are we at? How can we compromise on this? This is really important to me. See how it goes. And you might find out it's important to her too. And she just wasn't saying something.
hmm,
And then you connect, you get closer, and you work on compromising. So this can be really powerful in bringing you closer and then helping you decide, oh my gosh, I am on the right track. She is really good for me. And then, then you work on another one and you work on another one. You work on them gradually. But if she's someone that doesn't want to work on things or doesn't want to compromise, you've got a big decision to make.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to go without. And besides it's painful to start over, always. Isn't it worth it? Because the more you embrace what's on these lists, the more you will manifest somebody. And that's why it's so powerful to write these things down. It really activates your brain and creates the new synapses, and they start to bond in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you will get closer and closer and closer. Because the truth is, subconsciously, our subconscious mind's driving the bus at least 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you went from somebody horrible to someone amazing, like on a blind date, for example, because you're not going to track this person, but if she got thrown into your universe, it's going to feel so wildly uncomfortable for you. You're going to let her go, but not know why.
Say that
And
one
it's
more
only
time. Say that one more time. I want to make sure I got that.
so if the person you dated is so different from the new person you're dating, chances are very, very good you're going to let them go because of the disparity between the two women. Because your subconscious is fighting to be comfortable and familiar. Anything new, even if she's healthy, she's everything on both your lists, is going to feel so wildly uncomfortable to you. You are likely to end it because it feels unsafe. It's so unfamiliar. Your brain doesn't know what to do with any of that new information. So people tend to date one step less crazy or one step healthier as they go along. And so that's why it might take you a while as you're conscious dating to move up the ladder. Doesn't have to, but that's usually how it works. Your body, your thoughts are trying to protect you, and your brain doesn't always know what it's talking about. I mean, a lot of times it doesn't know what it's talking about.
Let's go back to this because this seems huge.
Yeah, this is deep. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at that one step up, one step down. So how does that work? You either find somebody who is more emotionally ready than you might be, or how does that work?
Mm-hmm. Right. So she might come into your life some other way. And that's why I'm always talking about your invisible filters, because when there's a disparity like that, you literally will not see her until you are ready to receive someone like her. You won't even notice her. The person you're meant to be with could be in your life right now, and you don't see her that way. And that's the only reason your brain is filtering out all the things. And your brain can handle a little bit of discomfort, but not a lot. And so then it just shuts down or you just put on, you're just shut down then. Your love goggles are all blacked out. And that's why you continue to attract the same type of women, is because your brain is in this level of comfort seeking and can only see through your invisible filters what's normal. And that's why people get discouraged. What you think is normal. So you think all women are using you for your money. All women are controlling and manipulative. No woman is loyal. No woman wants a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. That's because your brain has just whittled your goggles down to this very little pencil hole view. Yeah.
Do you think it's reasonable that the person of your dreams you could go to the gym and walk right past them and not even know it? Yeah. But if you open up your vision, do you think that somehow they're going to be attracted to you and you to them? Like you walk past them, but this is going to be the one time. Let's say 6 months later, you got a different view of things. You're consciously dating. you've done all the steps. You've done all the TTC, Tamara True Connection steps, and you're there. You're at that point. Somehow you walk past her again, and oh my gosh,
Mhm.
something
Yes.
clicks. You might
Yeah.
joke about, some guy doing squats over there, whatever it is. That's where it's going to happen.
Mhm.
You're both going to be vibing each other at that moment.
Mhm. Well, because she can't see you either. So
Hmm.
that's why this is such a big obstacle because of the way you're presenting and the energy you're putting out there. I mean, if you're putting out the energy, all women are this, this, and this. No one wants to date that guy. But and this is all subconscious. You don't know the energy you're putting out there. So you can the check to what kind of energy you're putting out there is who you're attracting.
Hmm.
If you're attracting the same women over and over, you've got your lists, but your energy is still really off. And we spend a lot of time working on how to get yourself in order. So you are drawing in the women that you really want. And then you are presenting the full you out there so they get to see who you really are, which is the guy women want. Yeah,
Mm.
right now you might have your like invisibility cloak on, and that's why women can't see you. The sweet guy, the nice guy is coming forward, and no one wants that guy. People want a confident, kind guy. So everything that's happened to your life has shaped your energy and how you're presenting, and you can change that anytime you want.
Hmm.
And that's why it's important to work with someone because you're not objective at all. I mean, if we none of us would have dated the wrong people if we really knew what was going on, how we were presenting, or what to do.
Totally. And if we were all being authentic, because how many times have,
Mhm.
let's say back in previous dates, way back, right? Were you really being yourself? Like you're putting on, I don't want to say putting on a show, but you're showing
Mhm.
your best self as opposed to this is me. You don't like it, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I got nothing for you. I'm being myself. I'm not trying too hard. I'm not, being, the super nice guy. No, this is if I want to buy you flowers, if it feels good, I'm doing it. I'm
Mhm.
not going to think about it. It's just that's me,
Yeah,
and that's the way it is.
right.
Um,
Well, and of course, subconsciously, when in your previous relationship, you molded yourself into a box for her, and you're probably still walking around in that box. And people can sense that you're not your authentic self, you're not truly coming forward. And so that
mm,
puts up a wall too.
yeah. Uh, I always say you can spot a phony, and I don't mean that in this instance in a bad way,
Right,
whereby you're not really being real.
right.
So you are kind of being phony. And
Yeah,
whether they know it or you know it, others can pick up on it. It's just your energy, your vibe.
right,
It's like, they're not saying nobody's going to call you out and say, dude, that's not who you really are.
right,
But it's you're sending the signal out there that it's not
right.
totally genuine. Hmm.
And she's going to know that this is confusing, and what she's going to think is, I'm unsafe. This is confusing. This is he doesn't really know who he is, and she wants someone that's in a long-term, profession, a long-term relationship. Woman is looking for confidence in what you have to offer, who you are,
Yeah.
and that's all conditioning. It's just conditioning that you have to overcome, and remembering everyone wants unconditional love, which means the true you has to come all the way forward. Yeah.
I guess the conditions that pop up are the list, like smoking,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
those kinds of things, or
Right.
relationship with kids and all of that. And again, most of that is weeded out in the beginning anyway. But
Mhm.
if you're looking every 2 weeks, every once in a while, you might see, wait a minute, that doesn't align with my original list. Something's not vibing
Right.
there. Um,
You have to honor the red flags. You have to honor what you're learning. You have to honor your instincts. Your body's going to tell you when you don't feel good about something.
yeah,
So sit down and figure out why. What's triggering me? What am I uneasy about? What doesn't feel quite aligned? Yeah.
final thought on all of this. I truly believe that once you go through time, figure yourself out, consciously date people, the time span that happens from the first start going out with somebody to the point where you realize this is not really exactly the way I think it should be, becomes closer. Like you'll
Yes.
know way
Yes.
sooner that's not it. That's not working. No.
Isn't it reassuring? I love that.
Yeah, it
I
is.
know. Hmm.
Because you know you better,
Yes.
and you know
Well,
the
and you
things that
honor your own and respect your own thoughts about
right.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in touch with yourself. It's really what it is.
Yeah.
But you don't know until you know, and you're not going to know until you talk to somebody like you to kind of figure
Right.
that out.
Yeah. And the last step, like if you're considering like cohabitation or marriage, you need to go through premarital counseling, which is something I'm developing because the first 2 years are your hardest, even if like you live together and you move into marriage, the first 2 years are still the hardest. And it's because we haven't had the tough conversations about things like money. We haven't talked about it in depth enough because it's so, I mean, get me out all your statements. That's a really, really tough conversation to have. And then money goals, and then what's your money archetype? And there's
mhm.
so, you really have
Yeah.
to noodle through roles, kids, retirement, so that those first 2 years, well, now you've learned I really do want to marry you, which is really a beautiful revelation. And then your first 2 years are about being in love and creating your new life together instead of all this friction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I totally agree. There needs to be therapy.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
right
if I
away.
had done that, right, it would have saved me from
Uh,
divorce if I'd done that before I got married.
100%, 100%,
Yeah.
because everything will reveal itself. Sometimes it takes longer. Why not
Mhm.
get things to reveal themselves earlier, just so you have a better
Right.
view of it? What's your website? How do we find you, Tamara?
Trueconnection.coach, COACH. And then Instagram, Tamara, True Connection.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would love to help you noodle through this because, well, we've all made the mistake of staying with someone too long. So let's not do that. Let's get you
Yeah,
with someone that you really are a good match with.
100%. And
Yeah.
help with the list too. I'm going to try that tonight. I'm going to start
Mhm.
come up with and I have a few, but I know that once I start writing it, more are going to come out. I'm going to think of, there's another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes an imprint on the brain. So then that starts to alter your love goggles, your invisible filter. So then you are
Yeah.
just more discerning.
It becomes
Yeah.
clearer for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Tamara, always great
Yes.
talking with you. And thank you for making things clear. Like this is important stuff. And it's crystal clear that what
Yeah.
guys we should be doing, everybody should be doing it.
Yeah. The women too. And you want the women to be doing this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And look forward next time we get together.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.